Now, on the subject of libraries, certainly in previous courses, such as concurrency course, there was a lot of expectation that you would do things the hard way. And by that I mean write your own implementation, don't use existing libraries. That is, of course, not a super realistic representation of like what you're going to do in the future. I'm sure what you've done sort of in co-op terms has not been, implement a linked list from scratch. Right. In hiring interviews, sometimes they ask you to do these things. Whether that's sort of a good representation of what it's like to actually do the job is a separate discussion, and that's gotten even sillier in the age of like GitHub Copilot and other large language models that can auto complete some code for you. So the idea of writing your own linked list feels very silly, but even before that, I think it's fair to say it was kind of silly. Because you would use the one in the standard library. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. That's just kind of ridiculous. So with that said, right, realistically, in industry you use libraries that have appropriate functionality. In Rust, we talk about them as crates, but packages, libraries, whatever it is. And one of the things to watch for, though, is assuming that the license is acceptable to your project. And there are libraries that have licensing that require, say, open sourcing all of the code into which this library is used, which you may not want to do, right? Your employer may not be very happy with the idea of having to open source all of your code, and similarly, you don't want to just not do it and get sued. Because that's not fun either. The story shouldn't end with "and the lawyers get rich." So just be mindful that you need to pay attention to the library terms and conditions. So in this course, you are welcome to use crates that have the functionality that you are looking for. There's no reason why you have to reinvent absolutely everything from scratch when good, useful crates exist out there. Now, the topic of using libraries used to have its own lecture in this course. And we spent a good amount of time talking about two specific ones, Crossbeam and Rayon. And they are very useful. They relate a little bit to things that we haven't talked about yet, but we use them for like parallelizing an existing program or for managing some concurrency or asynchronous I/O, something like that. I didn't delete that content. What I did is I just moved it to an appendix. So it is now referred to as Appendix C in the course, and you can find like a compiled PDF for it. But you could also find, if you're looking at the notebook version of it, then it's been added to the notebook along with a couple of other appendices. Libraries like this are super useful. They're worth taking a look at. But like I say, it just wasn't worth doing as like a main lecture topic, just because there's only so much time and there's so many things to cover. So you might find it interesting. There's no requirement to use them, but if you're interested, please take a look and use them as appropriate. If you want to work on an example in a flipped classroom exercise, use them in an assignment, anything like that, make good use of them.